Okay, we're going to officially start the meeting. It is 7 p.m. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would ask that we have a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, and neighbors, as well as all those suffering around the world. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. May we please have the roll call of board members?
Michael Messina.
Present.
Ed Whitman.
Present.
Mary Adler.
Present.
Carol Butterworth.
Present.
Charlie Rock.
Present. Okay. We will now record the approval of minutes by board members from our last open board meeting on 4/10/25. Can I please have a motion from a board member?
I approve the minutes of the open board.
No. There you go. Okay. Say that again.
I approve the open board meeting minutes on April 10th.
Okay, may I please have a second?
I second it.
Okay, all those board members in favor of approving the minutes from 4/10/25, please state aye. Aye. All those opposed state nay. The ayes have it. The motion for the approval of the minutes is now passed. Okay. The May open board meeting is different from the other monthly board meetings because the primary reason for this meeting deals with the installation of new or incumbent board members. This is an election meeting. This year there were 3 board positions that were coming to an end. So for today's meeting, we will have a shortened regular open board meeting. At the close of the abbreviated session, the meeting will be turned over to our election committee, where the results of this year's board member elections will be shared. After these results are shared and the board members are installed, there will be a brief break whereby the incumbent and newly elected board members will leave this room and quickly meet to mutually agree on the assignment of positions with the new board. I would ask that all those interested in knowing which board members occupy which positions stay for the brief recess and appointment results. There will be no Q&A session today, but anyone interested in sharing a concern can meet with the incumbent board members at the conclusion of the night, and the incumbent board members are prepared to stay for as long as necessary. Now on to the President's report. There are no new motions for discussion today. The next item is every year there is an independent audit conducted on the HOA's finances and reporting structure. The results of this audit will now be shared by the Chairman of the Finance Committee, Mr. Bill Cohen. Bill?
Thank you, Mike. As Mike said, the association received the 2024 audit from our outside independent auditors, Wilkin and Guttenplan. And with all previous audits in Lake Ridge, this was a clean audit. No concerns, issues, or adverse comments. The auditors were very pleased with the cooperation of the Lake Ridge Board and the managing agent. And the auditors felt that Lake Ridge was in a very strong financial position with our present reserve funding and management fees. As a matter of fact, they shared with us the fact that many other HOAs have been forced to borrow against their reserves or take out loans to meet their expenses, capital improvements. That's something that Lake Ridge has not done. The audit is currently being reviewed by the Finance Committee, and we expect to recommend acceptance of the report by the board at the June meeting. Among the items that are being reviewed are the auditor's normal year-end adjustments to the financial statements of the various funds, the operating fund, preventive maintenance, capital, contingency, etc. In the auditor's opinion, the impact of these uncorrected misstatements, as they call it, are immaterial, both individually and in the aggregate to the LRHOA financial statements taken as a whole. But I think you'll be glad to hear that the net of these adjustments has lowered the 2024 carry-forward deficit in the operating fund. So that's the audit, and right now it's way too early to predict what 2025 will be. But we know that we have significantly higher utility costs and legal defense fees that are putting a strain on the budget. And on the other side, we are selling more houses at lower snow and obviously a lower carry forward deficit than we had planned. But stay tuned. Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you, Bill. So ordinarily, we would be approving the audit results, but we're still doing the fine tuning. And as Bill said, we're going to wait for June. There has to be an official approval of the audit done by the board. So the good news is, and he said it once, twice, three times, Lake Ridge is in a strong position, has always been in a strong position. And I'm going to tell you, it's because of our finance committee. It's not because of the board. The finance committee does a remarkable job of managing both our expenses with the board and also with our investments. So, I want to give credit to the finance committee, who really are the rock solid boulders that we base our HOA on. So thank you. Okay, moving on to the President's report. 2025 beautification project. This year's project was the redoing of the area around the gazebo, as well as the construction of a new veterans garden. This was a joint effort with the help from the Men's Club, along with the HOA. This project is nearly completed, and the results are self-evident. Again, thank you to the Men's Club for taking the lead on this and creating the new garden. And also, what I tell people is every year we should always try to improve something from a safety perspective and also from an aesthetics, from how it looks. And this was this year's project, and we hope to continue that next year. There's plenty of areas that can use attention, right? But we look well as a HOA, as a community, and we want to keep it that way. So again, thank you to the Men's Club. Okay, continuing on with thank yous, I would like to take this opportunity to take a moment to thank a couple of our residents for their help with filling in with keeping our HOA activities and club activities planning while Erin was on a medical leave of absence. So I would like you all to thank, if not tonight, because I'm not sure they're here and this light's blinding me. Okay. I'd like to thank Joanne Greenberg and Babs Jenkins for their time, efforts, and planning to a successful implementation of the 2025 activities. Thank you, Joanne and Babs. Okay, the outdoor pool is scheduled to... Oh, that was better. Get rid of that, Ed. Thank you. Okay, good to see you again. Okay, the outdoor pool is scheduled to open this Saturday, and it will be opening. I don't know how many people are going in. But we traditionally always open it up on this weekend on Saturday. And we're all looking forward to another successful summer pool season. And again, I would like to offer special thanks to the many pool committee members, along with Ed, for donating their time so that we can all enjoy the outdoor pool. Thank you to the pool committee and Ed. I have two more things. We're going to move on, relatively quickly. There's been a lot of chatter lately about the appearance of the Whitesville Gate in particular, and to a little extent the Massachusetts Gate. But Ray is going to report on that later when he does his report. The concerns are sub-noted and are being dealt with. The last thing that I have was a resident called me and said, Mike, I hate to say this, but I fell for a scam. And she said, could you please mention it at the next open board meeting? And I said, all right, tell me what it is. She said, well, you know the new thing that the state has with, they did away with Anchor and they did away with this, and now they have this thing stay or whatever. She says, yeah, I'm aware, I filled out my papers, I sent them. And then she says, well, I was attempting to do that, and somehow I got this number, and I called this number, and they said, well, you have to make an appointment, and you have to give us your credit card number, and we charge you $5, and then blah, 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 blah. Well, lo and behold, it was a problem. And it ended up being a bigger problem for more money, but luckily, the resident was able to kill that immediately by calling the bank. But she said, if you wouldn't mind mentioning it, because we don't want to, I'm going to just say this, if you're doing something with the township, they're not going to ask you for money to help you, right? But, you get caught off guard, things happen, but I promised that resident that I would say something to that effect, and hopefully, not only for the people here, but the people that probably will see the video of this down the road, There's people trying to take your money everywhere. It's a sin, really. That being said, that's the end of the President's report, and I'm now going to turn over the floor to the Vice President's report and Ed.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you for coming out tonight. My report is rather brief. First of all, the switch to the township for trash collection has saved us considerable money, and we can assure you that in going forward into the future, the Lake Ridge HOA will never ever have to increase its fees because of trash collection. The town is taking care of it, that's it. There will never be an increase in the fees connected with trash collection. Increasing fees, but not connected to trash collection. I also want to second Mike's thanks to a couple of people with regard to the Veterans Memorial Garden down there. I think everyone agrees that it looks very good, and that's to be the prime mover in this was Ed Viscabbage, ably assisted by the Veterans Club President Tony Bernice and by the Men's Club President Matt Amato. So again, thank you. They really have pushed it through, and going forward, there's plans to put little solar lights in front of or shining on each of those memorial stones. So this would be cheap, no utility expenses, no wiring, just put these little lights in to show at night. Access to the gazebo, which is, you probably noticed, is kind of walled off. We're planning on building either steps or a ramp up to the gazebo. It's a little bit more complicated than it appears because there are electrical and irrigation lines that are in between the gazebo and the walkway that will have to be rerouted when we put in that set of steps or ramp, whatever is appropriate. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And that's about all I have. So thank you.
So as I had mentioned, that the beautification project is not quite over. and adding the lights, I think, will be a nice touch. Obviously, the gazebo at some point, depending on how the money is, we may not be putting those stairs or ramp this year, but we may try to budget it next year. We're trying very hard to keep things in line with the budget, just so you know, okay? We'll now move on to the treasurer's report by Mary.
Okay, my operating funds. For the 4 months ending April 30th, 2025, our net income was $52,000, $52,500 was $41,752, better than our budget. In other words, our budget, we made more money than we thought. Why? How? Okay. Our budget for income was $843,941, and it actually was $900,745, which means we made $56,804. The better income performance was due to the increased income in the closing of homes, resales of $30,800, which was $12,600 better than the budget. We sold 22 houses versus the budget of, we predicted 13. And then the carryover from last year, after they put all the numbers together at the end of the year, was nice. We thought we were going to have a deficit, but it ended up being none. So we were $29,873 better than they thought. Okay, expenses. $15,050 worse than budget. Okay, why? Expenses were over budget for 4 months by $15,052 due to two principal factors. Our property manager and professional fees were $34,733 over. Manager.
Ray didn't make any more money.
Yeah. Over budget to the legal defense fees of $32,532. This was partially offset by lower snow cost of $18,981. There were other expenses, variances, both positive and negative, that they washed each other, so they were inconsequential. On April 30th, 2025, our cash and investment fund totaled approximately $3,283,000. Most of which is in our replacement fund. As Bill says, we're very well endowed, thank goodness, which has a balance of approximately $2.2 million. The funds are held in investments in CDs that are insured by FDIC, U.S. Treasury notes, and we keep many market funds. And some funds are held in cash, of course, because we need sometimes ready managed money. So again, as everyone has said, kudos to my financial committee. Thank you.
Okay, I forgot to mention one thing, and I actually had it here and I didn't read it. By the way, Monday there will be a Memorial Day celebration here, and I believe it's 11 o'clock. Ed, is it 11? 10:30. You were right, Carol.
10:30.
Okay, there'll be a Memorial Day celebration, 10:30 in the ballroom, right here on Monday, 10:30, right? I forgot to mention that. Okay, moving on, we'll now go to the Secretary's report. Carol?
Okay, thank you, Mike. As board liaison for the Documents and Policy Committee, I'm happy to report that the committee just got back from the lawyers the draft of the completed revised bylaws, with all current laws integrated into it and totally updated on language. You soon will be voting on it. That's a hard-working committee chaired by Steve Agresta, and this hasn't been done since 2006. As an aside, in the years I've lived at Lake Ridge, I've played a lot of tennis. I've chaired ARC, I've chaired grounds, I've chaired travel, and I've been an officer of different clubs, president of one, vice president of another, and so on. And as I exit the board, I salute all volunteers who give up their time, and I welcome the volunteers for the new board and wish them well. We'll soon know who they are, who we elected. But I should tell you that I got a phone call this afternoon that I got the highest number of write-in votes. And it's required by law to tell me that I should be a nominee. But I know it couldn't be 200 votes that were written in, so I declined. So anyway, I'll see you around, everybody.
And while we're on that note, I wanted to say this. I really am happy that there were 5 candidates who wanted to be on the board. That has not happened in a long time. To me, that means that people want to get involved, which is a great thing. So, and I hate saying 5 and there's only 3 positions. There's 2 people who won't be on the board, but thank you to those people who volunteered. Okay? We'll now move on to the Director at Large report from Charlie.
Hi, everyone. I spoke with the chairman of the ARC Committee, Gym Committee, and the Home Sales Committee. They all reported that everything is running smoothly. Phil had asked me to remind you folks, whatever you do to the exterior of your homes requires you to fill out and submit an ARC application. If you have any questions or problems with that, please give Phil a call. I just wanted to say, time is right for me to leave the board after 15 years of volunteering here, 13 years running the Architectural Committee, and almost 2 years here with the board. So I appreciate everything that goes into all of this for all of the volunteers. And to the folks that will be sitting up here, I just wish them all the best luck in the world. And if you do it the right way, it's very rewarding. So, thank you.
I guess now's a good time for me to thank both Carol and Charlie for volunteering their time. We've gone through a lot of tough things and got it accomplished, to the best of our ability. So my personal thank you to both of you. So as you can see, without dedicated board members like Charlie and Carol, the HOA really can't function. So the people that are coming in, and you'll hear the results shortly, you give your time, your effort, but it's for the betterment of the entire board and also the HOA and also your fellow residents. So we're now going to move on to the manager's report from Rand.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It'll be a shorter report than I usually give, being it's an abbreviated meeting. But I just wanted to mention that, as Mike had mentioned, the Whitesville and Massachusetts gate, we have just finished working with Meticulous Landscaping to get some of our requests taken care of, and that'll include the common mulch installation for the month, for the year. So that'll be starting shortly, but they'll be taking care of both gates as well as the common area mulch. I wanted to just expound a little bit on the trash collection too. As Tom's River took over, we had little burps here and there. But in talking with Tom's River and the communities that they work with, they want to take a more proactive approach with Lake Ridge, which means they will be taking care of all communications. They said that their drivers start their shift at 6:30 a.m. They will most likely start collecting here at 7. All cans need to be curbside by 6:30, and the trucks will not leave our community until the entirety of the complex is collected. They have no set end time to do that. But as I mentioned, the big difference is that they request all residents call them directly for any issues with the collections. This is how many issues with them, the cans, wheels, damage, late stops, or general issues should be routed. Give the drivers time to do their service, they'll be here that whole day. They promise you will not be forgotten, and we saw that with the last company. But pickups are not completed by 3 p.m. You are directed to contact the Public Works Department at Toms River. We have given that number out and the person to contact in the blurbs and the email blast, and will continue to do so. They also assist with residents with handicap pickups. So they need to have the residents, they want them directly to contact Jennifer in the Public Works Department, and the submissions for requests would have to have their name, address, phone number, as long as the doctors know. It's the same as what we do with the emergency snow removal with the driveways. They need the doctor's note due to the HIPAA laws, and new requests are to contact Jennifer at the DPW directly. As I said, that number is available to the email blast. You can call the office, and we can give you that information as well. Also, recently we put out some blurbs as we've been getting concern sheets, and it's a common occurrence with landscaping companies, damage to personal property, sprinkler heads, irrigation lines, siding damage. We ask that if you report it to the office, please don't have it repaired right away. Wait for the contractor to come out, we contact them right away, come out and inspect it. They have coverage to make these repairs. But if it's already repaired, by the time they come out, they can't validate the repair, and 9 times out of 10, you won't be reimbursed for that repair. So get it to us first, let us get out there and look at it. Even if we get out there and take a picture, if they can't make it right away, we'll at least have the damage documented for you. Again, any questions, please call the office. And I wanted to finish off, or I was asked to finish off with our legal situation going on. We have had a conversation with the attorney last week, and there's been no action for some time now. The judge is still reviewing submissions from both parties, and he has yet to make a date with the parties to proceed with the suit. They're looking at, hopefully by the end of June, if not, they close for the summer and it won't be until September. But we do not get charged anything within that time off. It will just take a little bit of a delay to get things settled. But going with 2025, as we said, with the legal charges that have been assessed with our amendment review policy for 2025, with McGovern Legal, we are up to $2,615. Collections, and we've had a few with architectural violations, $1,259. Municipal reimbursement, we had them review the 2022 and 2023 problems we were having, the deficit that we did not receive and probably won't receive, and that was $495 to date. And the suit in question with conferences between our lawyers and Bill Wallach, the 2025 fees are up to $32,632, and combined total for 2024 and 2025, the total is $47,755. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Ray. That concludes this portion, so I'm looking for a motion from a board member to close the business portion of the open board meeting. Can I have a motion?
I move to close the business meeting.
May I have a second, please? Second. All those board members in favor of closing the business portion, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The general meeting is now closed. Now we move on to the main event. And that's the annual election portion for tonight's meeting. The first order of business is to document board approval of the minutes from last year's election, since they only meet once a year. This is the first opportunity. So may I now have a motion to accept the minutes from the 2024 election meeting from somebody?
I approve the 2024 annual meeting minutes.
Thank you. May I please have a second?
I second it.
Okay. All those board members in favor of accepting the minutes, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, state nay. The ayes have it, and the minutes from the 2024 election meeting are approved. The second order of business for this portion of the meeting is called the proof of meeting notice, which will be affirmed by our business manager, Ray. Ray?
I hereby attest to have mailed out via first-class mail prior written notice and e-voting of the annual meeting and election on March 4th, 2025, and written and e-voting notice on April 22nd, 2025. Notice was mailed to 926 unit owners of record. A copy of the mailing information and the mailing list was attached, and to the best of our knowledge, the unit owner information was accurate.
Okay, so now, the board will now turn over the floor to the election committee, to Teresa Alonso. Getting close.
Good evening, everybody. First, I just want to thank, before I begin, I want to thank my committee. Made it a lot easier. I want to thank Nancy Maines, Renee Stetson, Joan Proud, Walt McInerney, and Bill Edwards. They are there all the time for my committee. Thank you. I can't see. I will read the quorum requirements to you. And we have total units of 926 homes. Less the members not in good standing is 27. Total members in good standing is 899. Quorum requirement is 25%, 224.75. Absentee online ballots, proxies received were 335. Ballots required at a meeting for a quorum is 124. And the total ballots cast at election was 459. Not too bad. 51%. Yeah, it was really good because I think that's about the highest we've had in a long time. Which, thank you. And the quorum has been reached. Now, the election results. I want to thank all the candidates. We've had, like Mike said, we had 3 openings, 5 candidates, 3 write-ins, which is, I thought was great. A little competition doesn't hurt. I will read the candidates' rankings from the lowest to the highest. Where they go? Okay. We have Ron Romanchek, William Cole, Annette Bailey, Ed Whitman, and Matthew Pellicano. With that, I will have Matthew Pellicano, Ed Whitman, and Annette Bailey come up and be sworn in. I will read the code of conduct for the board members. The Lake Ridge Homeowner Association Board of Directors has approved the following code of conduct for its members in order to ensure that they maintain a high standard of ethical conduct in the performance of the LRHOA business, and to ensure that the residents maintain confidence in and respect the entire board. The following principles and guidelines constitute the code of conduct. 1. The Board of Directors shall maintain a professional demeanor, using appropriate discretion at all times in making decisions that are consistent with high principles and to protect and enhance the safety and property values of the residents. 2. No board member shall solicit or accept, directly or indirectly, any gifts, gratuity, favor, entertainment, loan, or any other thing of monetary value from a person who is seeking to obtain contractual or other business or financial relations with the LRHOA. Number 3, no contributions will be made to any political parties or political candidates by the association. 4, no board member shall engage in any writing, publishing, or speech-making that defames any of the members of the LRHOA board or residents of the LRHOA community. Number 5, confidentiality of other board members' personal lives or residents' personal lives, as well as employees' personal lives, will be protected by the board officers. Number 6, no board member will willingly misrepresent the facts to the residents of the community for the sole purpose of advancing a personal cause or influencing the community to place pressure on the board to advance a board member's personal cause. Number 7, no board member, nor his or her agent or employee or family member shall enter into a personal service contract with the outside vendors contracted by the LRHOA without previous disclosure of such interest to the board. Number 8, no board member will seek to have a contract implemented that has not been duly approved by the board. Number 9, no promise of anything not approved by the board as a whole can be made to any subcontractor, supplier, or contractor during negotiations. And number 10, last but not least, no drugs, alcohol, or substitute abuse will be tolerated. Now, hold on. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and state your name. Okay, and repeat after me. Have been appointed to the Board of Directors for the Lake Ridge Homeowners Association. Have the Board of Directors to be for the Lake Ridge Homeowners Association. Do solemnly swear to abide by and uphold the ideals and purposes of the association. To perform my duties to the best of my abilities and capabilities, without fear or favor, with the aim of furthering the mission of the association. I also promise to conduct myself in a manner befitting a responsible officer of the association, and that I take this pledge without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God.
We're just gonna take a picture, and then, as I mentioned before, we will leave the ballroom really quick, go into one of the rooms, and decide on the positions, come back and announce it. And then, like I also said, given that there's no Q&A, Mary, Ed, and myself will be here for as long as people want to talk. But, you know, we're trying to get this meeting taken care of, all right?